they're in, Morant can thread a no-look pass like Patrick Mahomes, and this one ends in a touchdown. These options right here will be something we see presented a lot from Morant coming up this season because with pick and rolls, it'll force bigs to get in front of him to slow him down. And with the help defenders aware that Ja could possibly speed past their big men as well, it'll leave them ball watching, forgetting that they have their own defensive assignment. And hey, here comes that alley connection. The Grizzlies definitely missed Ja's presence when it came to playmaking on the floor, as it not only just provides them with these easy lobs on the backside, but when the defense is forced to shift over to cover the roll man off the screen, here's where you can utilize those long-range snipers, and this time, Morant isn't the one holding the gun. When you make the defense move like this, it'll give the cornerman the option to cut back door. They could also shoot the ball once they receive the pass, or since Trey Murphy right here is tempted to close out, they could swing it up to the man in the slot area, but all down locked and loaded, so here comes another 3 points added to the board. Any slide movement on the court will unlock these passing angles, as here you can see Herder sliding over into the paint to be ready for beyond ball on the roll. So directly off the bounce with that left hand, Morant can zip it over to Luke Kennard, and when you leave a 45% shooter wide open, you already know what happens next. For those times the defense can't stop Morant from getting deep in the paint and having tunnel vision, he seemed too crowded to get a pass off, but with some finesse, Morant can wrap this all the way around a combo to drop it right into his pocket, who lays this in on the other side. Having that ability to put the pressure on the defense makes them pack up the paint like some luggage in a smart car, and now once you go for that steal, it puts you out of position. Najee Marshall now has to play the middle ground between Morant and Williams, but honestly, there's not much he can do. Getting this high level of playmaking back is going to be huge for the Grizzlies, as Morant can direct his players to the exact position he wants them on the floor, manipulate the defense with a ball fake, and dive it right to the guy who's standing right behind the wall of defense. But it doesn't just stop there. When he chooses to enforce his will in the scoring department, Ja can get his body into the defenders with the low carry force from the contact, and whether it's a cheap foul or not, this one ends in an and one. This right here is the level of craftiness you must have when your game is solely based on dropping the
I
ball,
was
as
right.
defenders will do anything to try to foul you,
Thor
or
had
you
his
can
first
handle the
act
drop
off
into the
today.
space from the recovery and gather right into
Thor
the
had
shot.
his first
This puts
act
the
off
defense in a
today.
vulnerable position, making contact from behind, and yet again, it's another bucket plus one more at the line. When you have to deal with witty guys like Morant, you must beat them to the spot completely. Because if you don't, you let him get low and into your hip, and if you're still sliding when he starts the contact, all he has to do is focus to make this home and go knock down the free throw. Now don't get mad at me. I'm not one to judge whether these are true foul calls or not. But what I can judge is speed, and when Morant catches the ball and is able to tap downhill with momentum, you might as well just go put 2 points on the board. You can see here when he's receiving the pass, Morant's already in motion towards the rim, so with Fox having to plant first and then slide to keep up, this puts him in a bad position to stop the drive, and as you can see, he was unsuccessful. I honestly can't stress it enough about how detrimental it is to give slashers a head of steam towards the basket, because even if the defense is at the rim waiting on him, well, he can soar right past them and lay this in gracefully. If you ask me, having that absurd downhill speed is what combats any defensive tactic, because with the defense at your mercy, you're able to act like you're weight and change directions utilizing the carry, and with momentum in your favor, you're able to get to the other side of the rim while the defender has no chance at stopping you. On this play right here, guarding Ja this high to deny the ball is for sure way to get beat, because eventually Morant will slip free and have a wide open runway ahead of him, and with Jaren Jackson on that three-point line, this makes Miles Turner hesitate to step all the way over, so the only defender to beat is Tyrese Halliburton, who Morant can high carry over to complete the bucket. In my opinion, I'm not exactly sure why defenders think they're going to slow him down by picking him up far from the basket, as all this does is put you in a foot race that you're most likely not going to win. But on that flip side, I kind of do understand why you would want to make him feel a little uncomfortable, because if you do allow him to get into his groove and dictate the speed he wants to play at, then here's where he can burst into this spin on the attack and put the game away with the floater and close. It truly gets difficult when you have to figure out a way to stop such an elite driver, as Morant can turn the corner in a flash to get a bucket. At times when he does route to the destination in a quick second, he can pause to get your big on the trampoline to then finish the short push shot. And let's just say you do get solid help when he attacks downhill, well, Ja can use that acrobatic nature of his to maneuver the ball in the air to avoid the contact and spin this off the glass in high fashion. It's extremely key for less physically imposing guys to be able to hang in the air, because there will be those times where you clash inside with the trees, and if you can out-hang them to then readjust for the conversion, well, you're pretty much a walking cheat code. I bet on this drive here, AD thought he was in perfect position to block the shot, but with Ja absorbing the contact from Davis, he's able to use that to shield off AD, so he can now convert this and one with the left hand. But hey, not every time he'll be able to clash inside and use force to score, so that's why that hang time is so valuable in these situations. with the smoothness, Morant can feed these crossovers, which allow him to get the advantage on the defenders. And in this case, when you're dealing with a 7-4 Victor Wembanyama, that in-air adjustment is extremely major. I mean, don't get me wrong, he could serve that cross-jab combo to then dunk it right over Wemby. But you tell me, don't these times when Morant swiftly crosses over to then reversing in on the other side look a little bit more sweet? I know some of you will probably disagree and say the dunk was way more eye-catching, but when you see the Morant can handle the ball to then shake a defender before gliding inside for a bucket, you have to be somewhat amazed. It's not necessarily that you're amazed by the handling itself, as these are moves that we've seen all types of guys do, but it's the fluidness behind these actions that make everything so much better. If he's attacking the rim and being targeted by a defender, would Jock use that tornado to avoid the defense to lay it in? When he's pushing downhill and use that cross jab, the defender is gearing up for a layup attempt, but Morant can stop on a dime to float it over the top. And for something we all would love to see going into next season, if Morant can show this level of craftiness and shot making from that in-between range, this will give the defense major problems every single night. It sucks that his season was cut short, so we couldn't see if that jumper was fully developed or not. But going into this season, we will be able to see his game on full display. The Grizzlies definitely missed his presence, and with him returning, this squad should be able to make some noise in the West.
Good morning, guys.
For
Good morning.
anyone who ever slept on Ja Morant, they will fully be awakened. If you
Good morning,
enjoyed this video,
guys.
be sure to drop a like, subscribe, and turn on post notifications so you're first to know when I upload. I thank you all for your support, and I'll see you in the next video. Now, we all know that Stephen Curry is the greatest shooter in the NBA, but who would think at 36 years old and 15 years into his career, he'll be lighting up the league like this? Like, let's be honest, the way Steph has been torturing the league has been crazy. Most people will only look at his three-point shooting, which is a nice sight to witness. But when you see him attack the rack, he can get crafty inside, and even from the mid-range, he can get active and cause the defense problems. Virtually from all areas on the floor, Steph is dangerous, and if we look at some key games this year, we can see exactly the danger he imposes when he steps on the floor. Looking at the stats across these key 4 games, the numbers are truly ridiculous. As you can see, Steph was highly efficient on a high volume of shots. In my series called The Arts of Basketball, I dug deep into how skilled Curry is when getting into his shots, which is a video you must watch. And today we're going to go over just how exactly he picked apart these defenses over these 4 games. If you live under a rock, you would know that Steph's cardio is out of this world, and when you pair that with his accurate shooting, this is when you get an unstoppable force. With Curry, he doesn't stop moving on the floor, so even if it seems like he's gonna stop, this is also he can get you to trail behind him, and once he's behind that three-point line loaded up in his shooting pocket, well, his bombs away. When you're dealing with elite shooters like Curry, all it takes is the smallest amount of space for him to get his shot off. So even though he has the big right in front of him, and his man is right on his hip, if there's any daylight present, best believe he's gonna let it fly. Defenders can try anything they want, and even pressure him enough to make him lose the ball momentarily, but once he gets that handle back right and delivers his step back, this right here is too much room for him to feel comfortable, and now there's 3 more points added to the score. That stop on the dime step back only works because Curry is a threat to drop the ball, and when you pair that with his scary three-point shooting, here's where you see these hezzies work to perfection, making the defender lunge out for a split second, and this is all that's needed for Curry to get past you, use some craftiness to maneuver his body into this small gap in the defense, and spin this off the glass for what should have been an and one. Now, not only does his three-point shooting open up his attacking game, but since defenders tend to chase over the screens more times than not, it allows Steph to curl around the screen instead of just stopping at the top of the key. So with the defender behind him and Joel stepping up, here's where that in-between flow game that I talk about time and time again comes in handy. I know some people really dislike the mid-range game, but watch this play right here. In basketball, you must understand their tendencies and have exceptional court navigation. So right here, Mooney is gearing up to set this screen. You would think that Curry's going to come off the screen and go up the floor on the sideline. So as a defender, you would trail him to run him off the 3. Well, with Curry being 2 steps ahead of the defense and not 1 step behind, he anticipates that Herb Jones will be ready to go out wide. So at the last second, Curry makes a sharp cut back to the inside of the screen like a wide receiver in American football. And since Jones chases around, he's now out the play. And look what opens up. A wide open look in the middle of the floor. All of this comes from Curry being able to move without the ball. And unlike that last play where Jones chased around the top of the screen, this time he makes the fatal mistake of going under, and I'm pretty sure me and everyone know what happens next. For a defender to combat that, they'll try to body up with Curry, giving him no space to move away from them. Here's where that subtle physicality that Curry has on display. As you can see him push off Herb Jones, which not only allows him to release off into this open space with momentum, but it also sets Herb Jones under the screen that Louis is coming to set. But hold on one second. If we rewind this play a little bit, I want to show you the extra layer to this that leads to Curry getting such a great look at the basket. Now, we already analyzed why the push-off is so effective, but when you see Curry come off this screen, if he was to take 1 or 2 steps more towards Draymond, this would allow Herb Jones to get around the screen and still get a good contest. So with Curry making sure to catch and load up behind Looney, this makes Herb have to make up a greater distance to contest the shot, and with such a quick release, it's nearly impossible to get there. I'm telling you, it's the small things that lead to you being a great player, and a lot of the time, it has nothing to do with you operating with the ball in your hands, using a whole bunch of fancy dribble moves. When you perfect those little things like constantly moving to your spots on the floor, the defense can't ever stop running or lose track of you, because once you become open with your eyes on the prize, everyone might as well start running back the other way. This absurd off-ball movement of Curry's is probably the most special part of his game, because when defenders do end up being behind on the play, they'll sell out hard trying to contest the shot, but if that up fake is pulled out the bag, making you jump on that trampoline, well, the jumper is straight money. Not only will it just be his movement on ball that gets him open, but Curry will be used as a screener at times, which if you look closely, makes his man open up and take a step towards the cutter. But this is all a setup to have you run into the screen blindly, and I'm pretty sure coach will have to sit you down and show you exactly how you got cooked. Most people will think it's as simple as running around and just shooting, as you must have a purpose as to why you're doing certain things in an end goal.
Bro, I was just like
Take
that.
this way here for an example.
I was just like this. I was doing this way before.
Decides to run up to the top of the key. So Steph doesn't just run to Wiggins for no reason, as this is to make Neymar get his back turned to the three-point line, making him have to turn all the way around when Steph finally launches out to the perimeter, and just that little attention to
I just
detail
hit my
and
feet
setup
breaks
makes
like a
Andrew
move
now
like
fall
that. I know I
slightly
can do it
behind,
now,
giving
but
the best shooter in the world
I wouldn't
the
be shooting the
exact
right
that
way.
he wants. If you still don't believe me about there always being an end goal in mind,
Man,
well,
I should
watch
get
this
to
play
the
right here.
I'm
You
from
can
the
already
whole
see that
soul.
Curry never
Everybody
thought about
ever
coming
know
off
I'm
this
dunking
screen,
on him.
as he knew Herb Jones was going to fight over the top of the screen due to him already being up so high. So here's where that backdoor cut is initiated, and the layup is way too easy. It's not even necessarily that Steph is the smartest player or anything, but he's able to make extremely quick decisions on the court when noticing what the defense is doing, and this gives him the best
That's all I gotta
opportunity
do is
to
get
get
my
the easy 2
get
or
my
3
fucking feet
points.
together so I can run like
If you
that.
watch him on the sideline
My
here,
back cuts are
Curry
easy.
tries to come up the first time, but is jammed up by Herder. With this now in the back of his mind, he understands that
I know I
any
can run
move
like
will
him.
make Herder play the
Or
high side.
more.
So when the ball makes his way back to his side of the floor, Curry slices backdoor, this time catching Herder off
Yep,
guard.
back
And
doors
this
all
layup is
day.
an easy bake oven meal. See what I mean? It doesn't take a whole lot. It just takes being locked in and understanding when and where to make moves. But hold on one second. Don't get me wrong. As when Curry needs to create that space for himself and get a bucket, well, this is when you're in for show. Since he is the threat once passing half court, you'll have guys guard him extra high, but that leaves the defense vulnerable to these crossovers where he now has you beat to get downhill. So when he stops on the dime instead of continuing towards the rack, it'll allow folded defender, opening up this gap for the deep ball. It's honestly a hard job for the defense because they simply can't give up any amount of room, or else Curry's going to make them pay up. So just like we discussed earlier, this is what opens up his game in totality, since defenders will try to be up as tight as they can on him, but now when he decides to put the ball on the deck, you're at his mercy, and this step back out of nowhere just cooks you. It'll end up getting so bad to the point where the defense will send a double at him trying to contain him, but with that handle, he's able to evade the defense with the cross, attack the rim, and finish right underneath Barnes for the 2 points. These doubles will either come in a secretive way, or they'll be blitzed at him like Zion is trying to do here. But with that quick reaction timing that we discussed, Curry shakes back towards the right side to push downhill, and just before running into the held defense, he can toss up this floater to nail it over the top. This high level of shot making versatility is truly ridiculous.
Knowing that I can do all
And with
this
Curry
stuff.
always moving on the court, it makes him a nightmare matchup on any given night. Defenses will try everything to stop him, and somehow he'll still end up scoring the ball. Rather it be from the inside, the mid-range, or if he's operating from behind the line, sending it up from deep. Do you all think you could be a coach and draw up a scheme to limit Curry? If so, let me know, because all I can say is play your heart out and do the best you can, because you're certainly not going to stop him. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to drop a like, subscribe, and
Well, there's about to be another bigger Curry coming. And I'm about to make that shit. I'm about to make everybody fucking pay in a small amount of time that I'm playing. You think I'm fucking
today's
playing?
video, Derek should
I'm about to destroy
apologize. So
everybody.
the question you're asking is for
Everybody.
what and to who?
Everybody must get the fuck.
I've got to come clean. I'm 52 years old.
I've seen
It's
this
been
one
a
already.
long time. It's been very, very stressful. And I just want to come clean.
What the fudge?
So obviously the Olympics just ended with the United States winning the gold medal over France. And a lot of people have called this United States team the best team of all time, the best Olympic team of all time. I've heard names like the Supreme Team, and obviously LeBron called them the Avengers afterwards.
There's the Dream Team, Redeem Team. What's this team?
The Avengers.
Okay.
And obviously we look at that top tier group that the U.S. has: LeBron, Steph, KD, guys who are obviously legends. And at the end of the day, like, Steph went off the last 2 games. LeBron was consistent the whole time through, won the MVP. Kevin Durant had some massive moments after missing all the exhibition games. And so you look at those guys and you see how they contribute to winning. But then Steve Kerr talked about afterwards how Devin Booker was the unsung hero, the unsung MVP of this United States team. And I actually couldn't agree more with that. And I want to talk about exactly what that is. So I'm going to try and put in some clips of Devin Booker from the Olympics. We'll see how NBC feels about that. So if not, I'll just put in some clips of him with the Suns. I was talking about this on my Instagram story yesterday. Devin Booker in this Olympic setting with this team is the best 3-and-D player that we've ever seen. The performance of a 3-and-D player, he did it better than anybody we've ever seen at any level. And I want to talk about exactly what that means and for you as a player, what that can look like. And then another takeaway that I kind of have that's more of a big picture. So obviously Devin Booker is a guy who's getting paid max contract money in the NBA to be a dude, to be a two guy. If you watch him play in the regular season, he's very much ball dominant. He's ball screens. He's isoing, taking a lot of shots, a bunch of different shots, mid-range, floaters to the rim, threes, off the dribble, off the catch. He's doing all of that. The offense runs through him a lot of the times. And so there was a tweet from, I think it was Kyle Kuzma, and he was talking about how the U.S. team, like for this next cycle, this was, I don't remember when this was, maybe a year ago, maybe a couple of years ago, when he talked about how the U.S. needs to look to add role players, guys who are willing to play a role. And Devin Booker quote tweeted it and said, "I'll do it." And it was actually really insane to see the difference, right? You watched Devin Booker during the Olympics, and he was defending at a really high level. And obviously, we know that he shot the ball. He shot 56% from three. So those two things he did at an elite level. But outside of even the 3-and-D portion of that, what really made him special was his willingness to make the right play, which a lot of times resulted in passes. He made some of the most beautiful extra passes that I've ever watched. And he was not only a willing passer, but he was like a generous passer. To the point where like he'd catch it and he would know, like, okay, that guy's got a better shot than me, or he's more open than me. He'd swing it, or he'd even say, oh, or that's Steph Curry, or that's Kevin Durant, I'm gonna give him the ball. And he would do that. And he would get guys wide open looks, wide open lanes or angles to try that. And it was completely because he was focused on playing his role and excelling in his role. So what we saw in the Olympics was him take a step back and do significantly less than he was capable of doing.
All right, it's time
But
to
he
go.
did it because he understood.
I can't sit here and listen to this basketball shit.
And
bro.
again, when you look
I love you guys,
some of these
but
games,
you always gotta come
the
out.
efficiency
I'm
playbook,
tired. I'm
you
feeling
can
a lot
argue they
better,
probably
especially
don't
with
win
jumping
a
video.
gold medal without Devin Booker, right? Even though all the attention's going to go to
Alright.
guys
I'm
who
gonna record
are
when I get
the
there.
leading scorers, the guys
So
who the
give me like
offense
20
runs through,
minutes
the guys who are making
later.
the highlight play.